Yo, what's up, guys? It's the Jedi's point of view. It's been a while since I've talked to you guys, read to you guys, so you know what we're doing today? We're doing some Book of the Sith. It's definitely been way too long. I'm just gonna jump right into it. Intro, smintro, bro. Who cares? Like that fucking video. Give me a subscription if you want more Star Wars content in your timeline. Let's get reading, ladies and gentlemen. We are into the epilogue of Darth Plagueis the Wise. Over here with his sick handwriting, so I'm gonna do my best to read this for you here. Starts off with the science of creating life. What is the Force? The Jedi say it is created by life, but I say the Force creates life. It is a simple deduction, an obvious conclusion when supported by structured experimentation. Yet consider this. The galaxy's leading scientific minds are largely ignorant of the Force, and the galaxy's most skilled Force users reject science. Sounds a lot like today's world. Excuse me. The latter are caught up in a romantic mysticism, convinced that they have been called by a higher power. The former have no excuse. Thus, I will be the first to pursue this line of inquiry. A scientific understanding of the Force is not the same as the memorization of incantations. Science seeks to understand the principle behind a reaction, not merely how to replicate it, particularly when formulas for the reactions are bloated with centuries of empty ornamentation. Yeah. Man, this handwriting's kind of wild sometimes. To study alchemy, one strip away its rhyming phrase and its perverse obsession with blood sacrifice. To study a shamanistic talisman, one must look behind the words of invocation. When a talisman unleashes its power, what is the trigger? The words... Dude, Twitch notifications, leave me alone. I'm trying to read a book. Where was I? The words. The speaker's tone. This mental state. If a talisman's power resides inside the gem, what will happen if a fragment is shaved off, then another? Alright. Does the energy dissipate when sufficient mass is lost? Is the ratio consistent for similar gems and similar talismans? So he's talking about, obviously, like Sith amulets or stuff like that. So he goes, the Sith of old never asked these questions, for tradition and obedience extinguished their spark of curiosity. And these questions are much more than ideal speculation. Speculation, not speculation. My science will remove everything superfluous in this way. The true nature of fundamental elements that the Jedi and Sith wield so casually will be revealed. And then Luke goes, the element that Plagueis couldn't measure is the will of the Force. The Jedi hear this call, and I believe the Sith do too. I don't think the Force felt compelled to speak to Plagueis. Alright, Luke. So it must be that I am the first. I will change it all. The Sith wallowed in ritual even during our centuries under the rule of two, playing dress-up in frightening costumes and posturing for our followers. I will burn away the colorful wrappings and study the skeletal structure that reveals the architect of reality. Excuse me. My ultimate goal is the secret of life, the life that gives us consciousness. For without consciousness, each of us is nothing. Through science, I will create new life and sustain my own. There's no reason why Darth Plagueis could not live forever. And then Sidious leaves a comment. He goes, I do not share my former master's enthusiasm for this process. I care only for results. I mean, you can tell that. So now we're on to influencing MIDI-CHLORIANS. So there's his diagram of the MIDI-CHLORIANS and what the cell actually looks like there. I don't want to get a good view for you guys there. It's pretty sick. But the Force is found throughout this universe, not only in living things. Everything in existence that draws upon various aspects of the energy we call the Force may be classified into three categories. So he has the Apeiron, includes and unites all matter, giving it shape and collusion. Aspect of life, Apeiron included gravity and electromagnetism, though the term encompasses everything in both space and time. Many of the abilities understood as belonging to the unifying force are tied to the Apeiron. The anima gives life, but not through thought to animals, plants, and other living beings. MIDI-CHLORIANS are responsible for including and sustaining anima in almost all species. Many of the living force abilities are tied to the anima. And then he has the pneuma. So, is the expression of conscious thought. Thinking, self-aware minds contribute to the collective pneuma, which is accessed by many natural telepathic species, as well as by various mind tricks of the Jedi and the Sith. These fundamental forces would exist even without midichlorians. However, midichlorians are the beneficiaries of an unusually strong connection to all forms of physical and psychic energy. Because the midichlorians inhabit living cells, the host organism is able to draw upon this connection. Midichlorians are endosymbionts. They die when their host dies, and no host can live if they completely are purged of midichlorians. Then, obviously, there's that diagram, and he goes, the visible biology of the cell and its midichlorians is a product of the invisible interactions of the Empyrean, Anima, and Pneuma. So you can see, obviously, now that we know, there's the Empyrean friggin' thing in the Pneuma. You know how it is, bro. And then Luke goes, the entire focus on midichlorians is misguided. They are a natural lesson in symbiosis. When we listen to the smallest creatures, they open up to the expanse of the Force. Only a Sith would seek to dismantle a relationship that benefits both parties. True. All living things, regardless of their planet of origin, appear to possess midichlorians or complementary biological structures. The reason for this is isomorphism are unknown, but the results of my experiments are into abiogenesis have shifted my present focus significantly. I don't know what that is. That's a scientific term. Big brain shit. Of considerable interest is the fact that while most cellular organelles generate chemical energy, midichlorians generate force energy. They also appear to possess a single unified consciousness linked via the pneuma and can be influenced by the host's mental state. In particular, negative emotions such as loss and hope can induce cellular necrosis. Damn, dude, let's go. Your cells start to die if you get too much loss or hope. Typical blood concentration is around 2,500 midichlorians per cell. Cutting this concentration in half will usually induce death. I conclude that force energy is required for life and that midichlorians are its biological vector. Jedi and Sith have high midichlorian counts at the moments of their births. Breeding between two force-sensitive parents is an option, as the pairings generally result in force-sensitive offspring. On the other hand, genetic defects have been a concern since the inbreeding among the royals of Yun during the mad chaos of the extraordinary powers. A simple blood transfusion is the obvious answer, but I have found that the subject's native midichlorians will reject the influx of foreign cells. That's pretty cool. Sidious goes, the writings of my masters betray his narrow focus and his obsession to unlock life secrets. He's proved blind to immediate threats. Facts. Seems to be looking very in on the cell and not really on everything around it. You know, he's not focused on the true meaning of why the midichlorians are there. And then perpetual life is next. So there's another cool diagram there. The solution, therefore, is not to introduce new midichlorians, but to impose one's will on the midichlorians already present in the subject. This can be done through the energy of pneuma. Just as a warrior in peak condition can lift a heavy weight, so can someone with a sharpened mental focus and an affinity for the Force achieve a measurable effect on living cells. I began with experiments on scurriers and other small creatures. I used my will amplified through my body's own midichlorians to override the lesser concentrated midichlorian voices in the test subjects. This proved more challenging than I predicted. Because midichlorians are linked by a universal mind, the ones in my own cells seem to resist the imposition upon their fellows. But I eventually succeeded, first with small creatures, then with slaves purchased from the huts. I forced the midichlorians to override their natural life cycles. What I discovered is that the midichlorians would not die. Instead, they drew upon sustaining force energy, which acted on a microscopic level to halt tissue decay in their host, putting an end to aging and disease. Whoa, dude. Plagueis was indeed the first to influence midichlorians to create life. I did not understand his work, but I am happy to take advantage of its results. My Shido scientists have grown some fascinating mutants. That's what Sidious says. And then this is a picture of I guide the nanosyringes with microscopic nudges in the Force. So he's literally in there putting his midichlorians into other midichlorians with the Force, bro. Concentrating the Force. There's another cool diagram there. I'll get to it in a sec. So my experiments proved midichlorians could be controlled. If this is true, then could they not also be inducted to create life? At the molecular level, midichlorians in the cells of a mother could, in theory, be persuaded to craft a zygote. For consistency in my test subjects, I obtained hundreds of identical humanoids, each with a consistent midichlorian level. After much experimentation, I succeeded in prodding the midichlorians to replicate themselves through asexual fission. Though in most cases, this process increased the numbers uncontrollably and killed the host. And then he leaves a note by the diagram here, and he says, thousands of subjects were classified and discarded during biological tests. A pity more could not have been used, as it would have made the data more conclusive. Dude, I wish I could read Orabish. I don't even know what that says on there. But that's okay. So, but I believe that using the method, I can trick midichlorians into creating a zygote. Then it would simply be a matter of growing the subject under normal biological conditions. Such a subject could, of course, take years to hit the developmental milestones of a typical humanoid, but he could have a midichlorian count as high as 20,000 per cell. That is more than any Jedi or Sith in recorded history. Although entirely theoretical, such an achievement is intriguing. If new life could be created where none existed before, the living could sustain their bodies indefinitely. Science has led to these conclusions, yet these secrets must be guarded with the utmost care. For now, it remains purely theoretical. Alright, ready? Ready for this, dude? Luke leaves a comment here, and he goes, I can't help feeling a chill as I read this account by Plagueis, knowing that my father was known for his high midichlorian count, which was supposedly even higher than Yoda's. And if you can read, he purchased slaves from the Hutts. Shmi Skywalker was a slave from the Hutts. You're telling me Plagueis didn't do experiments on Shmi Skywalker, and then he probably just didn't know that the pregnancy happened or kept, or potentially thought it failed and just obviously gave her back because, you know, she's a slave. He didn't need her. Once he was done testing her, it was done. So then she just was sold on to somebody else. That's fucking sick, though. The philosophy of life. The secrets of immortality are not meant for common beings. If all knew these truths, it would destabilize the structure of civilization. I do not wish to live in a galaxy where any fool can perpetuate his ignorance for eternity. Life is not mystical like Tibanna gas or Nova crystals. Life is a resource to be exploited. It is unique in that those who possess it find it priceless. Ah! Big yeah, bro, let's go. 12 minutes in. Yet in the aggregate, it is so common that this is functionally worthless. Billions of beings came into existence every day, and billions more die. We should preserve only those who advance our goals, or whose works is complementary to our own. Under my grand plan, list will include apprentices, researchers, and credit-worshipping corporate executives. But all other beings must be allowed to die. I would not turn the control of an airspeeder over to a Gundark, and I will not leave the dull masses in charge of issues that matter. They are ultimately content with their brief lives. They would not know what to do with the gift of never-ending time. Immortality opens up a new tactic for the grand plan. No longer do I need to prepare for the succession of the Sith Order after my death. Schemes in politics and finance set in motion today can safely take decades or even centuries to come to fruition. Such subtle plays are ideal for the Grand Master, whose patience is infinite. And then Sidious leaves a little note here, and he says, Alas, the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise became a tragedy. It seems that sustaining life was not the same as protecting oneself from injury or from accident. Then how many pages do I have left? You know what? I might do 2 entries on Plagueis because it's so interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do 2 entries on Plagueis because now we're into more of his opinion on the Force, which is new explorations in the Force. So I'm going to toss my bookmark in there, and we covered a whole bunch of science and Force all kind of combined in one, what Plagueis thinks of midichlorians and how he actually views the Force. So thanks for watching, guys. It's been a Jedi's point of view, and I really appreciate all the support on the channel. Don't forget to subscribe for more Star Wars content. Like the video if you like the damn video, and I'll see you guys in the next freaking episode, bro. Let's go.